Don't hold me to these colors being available at Walmart. These all are right now. These colors, I'm not positive, but the line of this yarn is, it's sort of a tweedy yarn. So it's got different colors like mixed together. It is also very reminiscent of Red Heart Unforgettable. It's a single ply yarn, kind of a roving style. It's got a lot of halo, and I think would probably be very difficult to frog. But if you've got your eye on a color changing shawl, this might be a good option because it's got some more subtle color changes, it looks like, than something like a Caron cake or something like that. The color transitions are a little bit slower over time. So it might be a good option for a gradient replacement if you're looking for something like that. All right, looks like I've got a couple questions. And somebody's saying the Ferris wheel is very soft, and then somebody has a question about the Kobu yarn, if it's soft and warm. So I'm just going to switch over to the Kobu, and I'll give you a little bit of detail about that, and then I'll talk about it real quick. So Kobu has been out for a little while. It was in another Lion Brand unboxing that I did, but they just released a bunch of new colors. They've partnered with a organization known as Knitted Knockers. Knitted Knockers makes knitted or crocheted prosthetics for women who've had mastectomies. And so I think these colors are targeting sort of nudes or like neutral colors that would be good for matching skin tone or hiding under like a t-shirt. So I think that's the aim on these colors here, but they're the same yarn as was available before in all of the bright colors. Kobu is 100-gram balls, which is 3.5 ounces. It's 232 yards or 212 meters. It's a number 3 lightweight yarn, or a DK. It's 50% cotton, 50% rayon. It is extremely soft and silky, like really, really silky to the touch. I assume that they partnered with this yarn because it probably feels very nice close to the skin, especially on sensitive skin. As far as making it for a sweater, I think it would be perfect for making like a open lacy sweater, if that makes sense, like more like a shrug or something like that. I don't know that I would want to knit like a winter sweater out of it. So depending on what you've got in mind, like a cardigan or something like that, this might be a good option. They're pretty small balls to work with, but they're not extremely expensive. I think they're about $3.50 or so. So I mean, you could do an open type sweater with a reasonable budget. The thing though to keep in mind, and the thing that I might mention, recently I was talking with a friend who knows quite a bit about textiles, and she was telling me that the biggest problem with rayon and modal and tencel is that they have terrible issues with pilling. They're soft and silky and amazing feeling, and they pill horribly. And I can't say that that is the case with this yarn. I haven't used it, but being 50% cotton, 50% rayon would make me worry that it might pill on you. And quite badly. Cotton pills pretty badly, and apparently so does rayon. So I don't have much experience, but she is a pretty experienced seamstress, and we were talking about the shortcomings on those types of fibers, and apparently that's the biggest problem with this type of fiber. So if you're going to put a lot of effort into a sweater that you want to last for a really long time, I would maybe work up a test swatch, or maybe work up a pair of fingerless gloves and wear them around for a little bit and see how they work for you. Or, work up just a square of this and wash it 3 or 4 times and see if it holds up at all. Anything like that should give you an idea of how it will pill and how it will hold up to a little bit of wear. I'd hate for you to put all of the effort into making a large project like a sweater and then only to find out that you've worn it 3 times and it looks terrible now from all the pilling or the fuzzes coming off. So that's just my word of forewarning. Like I said, this is super, super soft. I think it would make a really nice sweater, but I don't know longevity-wise how it would hold up.
Somebody did ask if you tried crocheting it and if it was splitty, and be related to the pilling.
I haven't crocheted with it, but I can tell you just looking at it, it's splitty. I can see the plies coming apart just in the ball. I don't know. I'll pull one of these off here, but
I can get way in there.
yeah, my husband's going to zoom in a bit so you guys can see this, but we don't have the right lens to zoom. But anyway, the yarn here, I can already see, he's going to refocus, that you can see that the individual plies are going to be easy to separate. That's what happens when you get splitty yarns, but I can see in the center of this ball, actually I don't know if you can refocus to get the center of that, but you can see that the plies are coming apart in the center of this ball, actually much worse on this side. So hopefully you can see that on screen, but the plies are already coming apart, which there are plenty of yarns available on the market right now that are plied and not twisted, and you can work them up just fine. But as far as crocheting with this, I would bet money that it will be a splitty yarn because I can already see the plies separating. So I don't really hold out hope that it will be a not splitty yarn. That may not mean that it's not a good choice for a project. It might just be that you will need to keep that in mind when you work with it. Lots of people just saying hi. Welcome, everybody. Yeah. Caitlin, if you try that and you want to share pictures or let us know how that goes, I'm sure others would be interested in seeing your results on that. I just found out right before we started the stream that Instagram added a new feature that you can do like a group chat from a story. So if you follow me on Instagram, maybe at some point when we're not live streaming, I'll throw up a story and open up a chat and we can all chat back and forth. I think you can share pictures. But it's just a way to have a whole bunch of people chat at the same time. I have not tried the feature out. I think it was released today. So I have no idea how stable it is or how well it works, but it might be something worth trying out. It could be kind of fun to just share pictures back and forth. Instagram's not the easiest platform in the world to use, but I don't think it's the most difficult either. Facebook groups seem to get more and more difficult to get people in and understand what's going on and how the pages work. So real quick here, I have pale pink, mauve, lilac, white, beige, and taupe. So pretty basic color names here. Nothing out of the ordinary, I would say. There were also a couple of pale blues available, kind of like dusty blues available in this set of colors. I just didn't pick those ones up. So these are, again, they're available on Joann Fabric's website. They're available from Lion Brand, but everything that I'm showing off tonight from Lion Brand here, I bought at Walmart. So those of you who don't have access to Michael's or Joann Fabric may have access to a Walmart that has these. So trying to spread around where I pick up yarns so that others might have a chance of getting them. My Walmart also had Summer Nights, which is a brand new yarn from Lion Brand. I've got another ball of this coming from Joann Fabric in a color that Walmart didn't have. Summer Nights is 100 grams, 437 yards, 400 meters. It's a #1 superfine or fingering weight yarn. They recommend a 3.5 or 3.25 millimeter knitting needle or a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Summer Nights is 82% acrylic, 18% polyester. It's got this sparkly thread wrapped around it. It is not stellina, which is the kind that is mixed in with the fiber. It's actually wrapped around, which is fine. It's just a different style. But this is a really pretty, like, multi-blue yarn with the sparkle in it. It is called Castaway. If you have a pattern in mind that calls for a hand-dyed sock yarn, in particular something that is variegated, these are all color changing back and forth, but not long color changes, not like a gradient. These are short color changes that will make a variegated shawl. But if you've got your eye on a pattern that calls for a hand-dyed yarn and you don't feel like putting the money out for hand-dyed yarn, I think this was $5 or $6. And it is a 100-gram ball of fingering weight yarn. So you can get in on those crochet alongs in groups on Instagram or Facebook, and not have to use a hand-dyed yarn. I think that this is the only, and I could be wrong, but I think this was the only #1 fingering weight yarn available at Walmart. It's just not common to see very, very fine yarns other than crochet thread available at big box stores. And Lion Brand, I think, is doing an awesome job of getting a lot of different weights of yarn available to everybody. I have also noticed that pattern designers have been trying to be more inclusive as far as, even if they used a hand-dyed yarn to make their pattern, they'll suggest some less expensive yarns. And not every pattern designer, but some of the ones that I follow more closely have been suggesting some of these new yarns from Lion Brand specifically, because they've got so many different sizes available right now. So somebody's asking if the yarn is itchy, and it really isn't. Just running my hands over the whole thing, I'm actually kind of surprised that it's not cotton. It feels like cotton. I'm hoping because it's polyester, it works up with a little bit more stretch. That's the thing that I really hate about working with cotton, is that when it's pulled against your hand and you're trying to tension it, cotton has no give, but polyester does. So I think it will work up really nicely. I think it'd be a really nice lightweight shawl. It does not feel itchy against my hands right now. I know what you mean. Sometimes the wrapped spiral thread around there will kind of get peeled up and scratch against the sharp edge of the surface. And this does not seem itchy at all to me. So if you had super sensitive skin, it might bother you. I have relatively sensitive skin on my hands, so I don't know. I don't feel it being itchy. One of the things, though, and I'm not saying with this yarn specifically because I haven't worked it up yet, but with these yarns that have wrapped, like, sparkly parts, sometimes when you crochet with them, that wrapped sparkly thread will move and bunch up, and then you get, like, little knots of it as you crochet it. So that's something to watch out with this type of yarn versus the yarn that has stellina in it. The stellina can't move around. It's spun into the yarn. This is wrapped around. It's twisted around it. So it's not moving readily just as I'm handling it. It does not want to slide. So they may have done a better job. I had some, I might have it around here. I think it's Red Heart Sparkle or Red Heart Party or something like that, that has thread wrapped all, or sparkly thread wrapped all the way around it. It could be Caron. Actually, I think it's Caron's Simply Soft Party that's got sparkle around it. You don't have to look for it. It's put away somewhere. But that yarn moves terribly. I worked up a bunch of baby clothes for my nieces, baby doll clothes for my nieces, and it was pretty terrible to work with, but luckily only dolls had to wear it. So it ended up not being that big of a deal. But it would not have been a pleasant thing, I don't think, against your skin, because the wrapped sparkle part just kept bunching up, and so I'd have a bunch of stitches with basically no sparkle, and then I'd have one that was like a sparkle knot. So anyway, the last thing that I wanted to, looks like we've got a, somebody was mentioning, so we talked about It's a Wrap, rainbow and sprinkles on a couple of different live streams. And I think I've also done a full video on both It's a Wrap and It's a Wrap Rainbow and It's a Wrap Sprinkles. So I think I've done reviews on all of those if you want to find the full reviews. But somebody was mentioning that they found it in their crochet, thread, and embroidery section of Michaels, and not with the regular yarn. So my Michaels has all of the crochet thread in one section, and it's usually by the hooks, and then the yarn is like the next aisle over, or the next couple aisles, depending on how good of a Michaels you have. But usually it's in a different section, and they stock it over there because they probably don't really understand what it is. I think it's in the bin over there. If it's not over there, it's over in a side bin over here. My husband's going to grab it and see so I can show it off so you guys know what I'm talking about if you haven't seen the It's a Wrap rainbow. Okay, it's probably in a bin in the storage room. But anyway, one of the viewers was letting you guys know that it's generally not available with the yarn, and I have found that to be the case at my Michaels as well, that it's stocked with the thread and not with the yarn. So the last thing that I've got here is Lion Brand Comfy Cotton. This is also not a new yarn to my Walmart. Like the Mandala Ombre is newer, but new colors. The Comfy Cotton blend is also available at Walmart, and it looks like they released a whole bunch of new colors. It was not one that I picked up the other day, but I just pulled this out of my stash so I could give you some stats on this. Comfy Cotton is a 200-gram ball, or 7 ounces. It's 392 yards, or 358 meters. It's a number 3 light or DK weight yarn. They recommend a 4.5 millimeter knitting needle or a 6 millimeter or J hook. Comfy Cotton blend is 50-50 cotton polyester blend. This one's really interesting to me because it also comes in undyed. And so if you want, you can pick up some like RIT dye and dye it yourself, because the cotton will pick up the dye and the polyester will not. And so you can make yarns that look just like this with custom colors, whatever color you want it to be. Because you can see in here, you've got like a thread of color, and then wrapped around it is a thread of white. And the white should stay white because it's probably the polyester sections. And then the cotton will pick up dye. And so I've seen people online dyeing their own Comfy Cotton because they can get the white base from Walmart. But also there's some new colors available from Lion Brand available at Walmart. I want to say these are a little bit more expensive. They're bigger balls, though. They're 200 grams a piece. I want to say these are like 8 or 10, somewhere in that price range. I think closer to 8, at least at my Walmart. The other thing that I've mentioned before, and I'm going to mention again, is that Lion Brand makes a yarn called Flicka. As far as I can tell, and as far as I can research on the internet, they are exactly the same yarn. Flicka comes in 100 gram balls like this, and Comfy Cotton comes in 200-gram cakes, and they come in different colors, and literally that's the only difference I can find between them. The Flicka I have seen at Hobby Lobby and nowhere else. The Comfy Cotton I have seen at Walmart for sure, and I feel like I probably have seen it at Michael's as well. But yeah, so these are all of the different yarns that I picked up from Walmart. Hopefully your Walmarts have them too. I'm going to check questions here real quick. So MJ likes one of the yarns, I'm not sure which one, that they made a top out of in beige, possibly the Kobu, since it comes in beige. It could have also been the Comfy Cotton. Either yarn I think would make a good, very open top. They're both light summery yarns. Actually, all of these yarns are all good summery yarns. And then Della's asking what are the best projects to use. Purchased 3 on clearance at Walmart, but not sure what to make out of it. So cotton, it can be tricky to work with just because the colors aren't as vibrant, and so I mean, certainly you can make out of 3 balls, that's quite a bit of DK weight yarn. If they're all the same color, you could make like probably a small lap blanket, like a sort of a lighter cotton blanket. But you can make shawls. You might be able to make like an open vest, or something kind of net-like. I'm trying to think. My husband's asking if I have a DK weight pattern suggestion, and I'm trying to think of something that I make in DK weight. Generally in DK, I make fingerless gloves, and that would be fine, but 200 grams would probably make you 4 pairs of fingerless gloves, and so with 3 balls, you'd have a lot of fingerless gloves forever and ever. I also probably wouldn't make fingerless gloves out of cotton necessarily. Cotton has a tendency to stretch out when it's wet and doesn't seem to come back very well. And so if they got damp, like in the snow in the winter, I would be afraid that they would stretch out and not really return to their shape. Certainly you can make things like dishcloths and washcloths and stuff like that out of Comfy Cotton. I'm trying to see what Lion Brand on the label is suggesting making a cowl. And they're saying that you can make 1 long infinity cowl out of 1 ball of Comfy Cotton. So that's their suggestion. As far as that goes, I always suggest that you go to either Lion Brand's website and see what they have as far as pattern suggestions that they put out. And then the other option is to go to Ravelry and look up Comfy Cotton. And then if you go to the yarn page, up at the top, there will be a project link. Like there will be little tabs at the top, and one will say projects, and you can see all of the projects that other people have made out of Comfy Cotton. So you can see usually how much they used and how their projects turned out. You can see all the different colors, and how they actually look made out of that yarn. So that's usually where I start. There's usually, I think if I'm remembering correctly, there's a pattern suggestions. That usually is set by the vendor, I think. But if you actually go to the projects, you can see what people have made out of that. And then there's a button that says Advanced Search. If you click that, you can sort by just knitting or just crochet projects. So you can filter out all of the knitting projects if you don't knit, or filter out all of the crochet projects if you don't crochet. So check some more cottons. Oh, MJ said that it was the Comfy Cotton that she made the top out of. Probably she. But so it was the comfy cotton that they made the fishnet top for summer. And yeah, that could be an option for Della, who's asking what to make out of it. Like I said, open, lacy things, I think, lend themselves well to cotton poly blends. So something like a tank top or an open sweater that you can wear over like a tank top or a t-shirt, or use as sort of like a bathing suit cover-up type of option. Jennifer's mentioning that she plans on making a summer throw in comfy cotton in whipped cream. I think whipped cream is the color that you can dye. I think it's the plain white. And if you search around online, there's a couple of people who will show you what they've dyed up. And it's pretty cool because, like I said, the RIT dyes and the cotton dyes don't dye polyester almost at all. And so when you rinse them off, you end up with the white polyester staying white and the cotton taking up color. And so if you wanted to try and gradient dye or speckle dye or tie dye some yarn, you definitely could with the comfy cotton. Jennifer also mentioned a swimsuit cover-up or a shrug or a shawl as suggestions for the comfy cotton blend. And I think those are all good suggestions, especially if you live somewhere around that is very hot outside and very air-conditioned inside. A lot of times in the summer it can be hard to go in and out of heat and air conditioning. So having something light but also like open, but that you can kind of pack together and make more dense. I wear shawls a lot, even in the summer, that I then will use to wrap around my shoulders or to put over my legs just to keep me a little bit warmer if I go into air conditioning. And then Caitlin mentioned that she made the infinity scarf from the comfy cotton and really likes that. And then Mary is saying, suggesting tops, bralettes, and wraps out of the comfy cotton. I think it's a relatively popular brand. The other thing that you could do if you go to Ravelry or to Lion Brand's website and look up patterns, you could also look up patterns and things that people have made out of Flicka, because it will be listed separately, but it's exactly the same yarn. The good news there is you would need half as many balls as whatever they say, because these are double size. So if they say they used 4 balls, you only need 2 of the comfy cotton, because the Flicka only comes in 100-gram balls. But it's exactly the same yarn, same gauge. The math works out that they're exactly the same. They're the same 50-50 cotton poly blend. I can't tell any difference, and the general consensus online is that they're the same. All right, so moving on from Lion Brand yarn, I'm going to push these guys all off to the side here. I have something to show you guys. This is a project that I've been working on. I am not much of a pattern designer, but I'm trying so that I can make videos and get them out onto my channel. And so I started messing around. I had some of this Caron Pantone yarn available just in my stash, and I thought I would try making something with it. I have a couple of different balls here for those of you who haven't seen it. I think Caron Pantone yarn is still available at Michael's. It was still available when I was there last. They clearanced out a bunch of the colors because they were making room for the Caron Pantone bamboo yarn. The bamboo yarn is a number 4 weight, and the regular Caron Pantone yarn is a number 5 weight, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's a number 5 bulky weight. So this is a little bit heavier, but I think it's something that they're going to continue to carry. But hopefully that's the case. If not, this project could be made with any number 5 weight yarn. Does not have to be this. I just chose this because I had these around and they're kind of cute little sets of yarn not really a gradient set, but they're meant to match these color swatches that Caron provides. So this is like a Pantone color swatch, and then they match the Pantone colors that they see in that picture. To be perfectly honest, in this one, I don't know where they got the teal from, but this one you can see a little bit more where the colors, they picked up the dark blues and the greens and stuff, and so you get this set of colors here. Anyway, what I made out of this was a project bag slash yarn bowl type of deal here. So when held like this, try to keep it on camera here. Huh? Sure, you want to switch? So held like this, I'm still working on the straps and I haven't sewn in any of my ends yet, but just kind of wanted to give you guys a preview here. When held, you can put, I'm going to put 2 straps on here. You can carry it like a project bag. When you're working on your project, you can flip it down and it does sort of stand on its own in like a little bowl shape. So this was kind of fun to design and to make. I've got lots of little ends and stuff going on in here still, but I just thought I'd get, really I just wanted to show this off a little bit and let you guys know what's coming. I'm still working on the pattern, working on, it'll be a little bit before I can get a tutorial all together, but I'm pretty excited about this. It's worked completely in the round. It's pretty straightforward pattern. It's all double crochets and chains, and that's it. But yeah, so that's my little project bag slash yarn bowl that will be coming soon. So, just kind of checking on chat over here. You guys have been really great, talkative, lots of suggestions and everything. I really appreciate that. If you have any questions or comments about the yarn that I showed off, about the project bag or anything like that, anything crochet related, if you want to throw those in the chat and we can talk about any of those topics. So that's kind of what I had to show off tonight. Right before the live stream started, I got a confirmation that my Joann Fabric order shipped. And so next week we'll have more Lion Brand to show off. Hopefully you don't get too sick of Lion Brand, but they have a ton of new yarns available. We looked at some of them online on their website last week. So if you want to see some of what I ordered, you can just go over to Lion Brand or Joann's website and see what's new, because I ordered pretty much all of it. But we talked about a few of the things that I was going to pick up. And so I ordered those, and they should be here by next week's live stream. So that's something to look forward to if you like looking at Lion Brand yarn. We've been doing pretty well about streaming on Tuesday nights at about 8 o'clock Central Time. So we're going to try and continue that and make it as consistent as possible. But sometimes the power's not on. So we weren't totally sure we were going to be able to live stream. So I'm glad we were able to. Mary's asking what's my favorite cotton to work with. It's sort of a weird thing. I work with cotton every day in my job, and so it's a little bit weird for me to say, but I don't really love working with cotton at home. That being said, I do actually really enjoy working with crochet thread, which is 100% cotton. Lisbeth makes really pretty crochet cotton. I've got some over here. I've shown this off before on live stream, but yeah, this is Lisbeth. I don't remember the name of the colorway. It's not written on here. It just says color 155. It's like Ocean Sunset or something. But this is a pattern called Fractal. I think it's free, but I'm not positive. It's sort of a doily shape, but what you do is you work this back and forth, and you make these steps on the side. And then I haven't finished this, but you need to work this shape. Sorry, I'm going off camera here. This edge of it gets worked over here, and then you work the spiral back, and you have more of the stair steps over on this side. And so it's a mirrored pattern for putting on something like a long entryway table, or really it's big enough for my dining room table. It'd cover an appreciable portion. We just have like a smaller dining room table, and so it'd cover a pretty big portion of our table. But I actually really like working with thread. I've made some doilies. I have a project that I don't work on all that often, but it's a big wall hanging made of big flowers and then fern leaves. And it gets mounted to like canvas or burlap and then framed and put up on the wall. And I'm really excited to get that done. It's just one of those projects that I keep putting on the back burner. Actually, this morning I saw a couple of either Facebook or Instagram posts, I don't remember, where somebody had taken a whole bunch of crochet doilies and overlapped them in like a big collage and just put one here and then one on top of it and then another one and covered an entire piece of canvas. So they'd covered canvas with like burlap, and then they had stuck all of these doilies on. I'm not sure how they got them to stick. It wasn't a tutorial. It was just pictures of the finished product. But it made me really want to make some doilies or go to some garage sales and pick up some that people are getting rid of, and make some of these cool wall hangings with a crochet theme. I really love making shawls and hats and fingerless gloves, but sometimes I just want to make something totally different. And so when it comes to that, I really like making things out of thread. It's just kind of it's still crochet, but it's like a totally different beast. It takes a little while getting used to crochet thread, working with really fine hooks and adjusting your tension. And so I don't know. I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for. You're really looking probably for a yarn that I like to work with. But as far as yarn, like cottons that I like to work with, I've worked with, I'm trying to think of 100% cotton. We just got some re-up, but it's part polyester. That's over here, yeah. Lion, it's also Lion brand. Is an 85-15 cotton polyester. I made some washcloths for a bridal shower, and those turned out pretty cute. I think I shared those pictures on Facebook and Instagram if you want to see those, but I don't have them anymore. I gave them away as a gift. But yeah, this is 15% polyester. I really like... Knit Picks makes a yarn called Cotlin, and it's a cotton linen blend. I've made shawls out of a whole lot of cotton blends, and I really like cotton blends, but 100% cotton has some really nice qualities about it, but one of those qualities is not that it takes dye very well. You can see, even with this Comfy Cotton blend, that the colors are all somewhat muted. The colors on the thread are able to be much brighter because the yarn is mercerized, which gives it this shine to it, but it also takes up dye much different, in a very different way than regular unmercerized cotton. But yeah, so I don't know. I know that's not the answer that you were looking for, but I have not found 100% cotton that absolutely has blown me away. I've got at least 100% cotton coming in this Joann Fabric order. I think it's a new yarn called Faye from Lion brand, and it is a #1 fingering weight yarn, I believe. There's actually 2 on my table over here that I didn't show in the Hobby Lobby Yeah. So Hobby Lobby has this sugar wheel cotton, and I did a big unboxing or unbagging, I guess, of a whole bunch of stuff that I bought at Hobby Lobby recently, and these got left out for some reason. And so these are actually pretty good colors for cotton. It has a really nice soft hand to it, like it really feels soft and silky, and they are 100% cotton. So they're a gradient style yarn. This yarn, again, is called Sugar Wheel. It's a number 3 DK weight yarn. 142 grams or 5 ounces, 335 yards or 306 meters. Let's see, a 4 millimeter knitting needle or a 4.5 millimeter 7 crochet hook. So this might be an option. I have not worked anything up with these yet. Couple of people are making some suggestions. Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel, which is this yarn here. Jennifer suggested and loves it. And then Jennifer also suggested the Lion brand 24/7 cotton. That one I have not tried personally. I don't even think that I have any here. I've seen it in stores. But yeah, so I'm hoping to see more stuff with more natural fibers. So cotton, rayon, even though it's from natural sources. Let's see what else. Wool, alpaca, anything like that. The more natural fibers, the higher percentage natural fiber, the better you can deal with the yarn. And by that I mean you can block it, you can shape it a little bit better. It generally holds up to washing a tiny bit better, though acrylic does hold up pretty well. They usually take a little bit more care. You can't always machine wash and dry something like wool. It needs to be super wash. But yeah, if they could get cotton to uptake dye the same way that, polyester and acrylic do, it would really, I think, be a really big deal. Problem is that if you mercerize, the feel of the yarn changes substantially. So to get yarns that take dye like this and have these really bright, vivid colors, you have to mercerize, and then the yarn feels kind of hard. It's very shiny and very pretty and has beautiful stitch definition, but it isn't really anything you'd want to wear against your skin. So you wouldn't really want to make a sweater out of this necessarily, but it makes beautiful doilies. All right. Just kind of looking through chat here. I think I've caught up with questions. So if anyone has additional questions, my husband did throw the picture of the washcloths made out of re-up, the link to the Instagram post with those in it, in the live chat. So, yeah, so I guess in addition to working on this bag, I've also been working on just finishing up some more of the stitch pattern baby blankets. Last week we talked about what kind of border we're going to do, and I tested those out over the last weekend. And I think the double arch border is really going to be look really nice on that interlocking shell blanket. So I think I'm going to be doing that. So if you want to learn how to do a double arch border on a blanket, even if you're not working up the interlocking shells, it's a really simple border that has kind of a fun little technique where you have to take your hook out of your working yarn and pass it so that you can crisscross the yarns. So it's kind of a fun little technique, and I will be getting a tutorial together on that. I also mentioned last week that I've got some book reviews, some stitch dictionaries, and then a couple of sort of intro to crochet or crochet guides that are touting themselves as like full learn to crochet type course books. So I've got a couple of those, and then a tips and tricks book that I picked up. Most of the books that I pick up, I either pick up used on Amazon or I rent from the library. So if you're looking for crochet books or pattern books, things like that, and you've got a decent library system around you, my own local library doesn't have that many books. They've got, I don't know, maybe one shelf of crochet and knitting books, but there are probably 50 libraries in our network, and they each have a shelf of books, and so you can get them through interlibrary loan in a couple of days. So if you check out any of my tutorial or my reviews on any of those books, the ones that I've already done or the ones that are coming in the future, know that you can usually pick those up at the library or relatively cheap from Amazon. So, somebody's asking what stitch I used, and I'm actually going to have to flip over to Amazon or to Instagram, and I will tell you. The teal one, I believe, is interlocking shells. Yeah, it's definitely interlocking shells. The gray one was all half double crochets, and the white one, or like the creamy one, I think was called it's in the 200, or it's in the crochet stitch dictionary. I'm trying to remember what it was called. It was called like the either granite or sedge or something like that. I'm trying to picture. I can picture exactly where it's at in the book. But it's upstairs in the on the floor in front of my seat. Crochet Stitch Dictionary. Sarah Hazel. My husband's going to run and grab it so that I can answer that. But yeah, I did 3 different stitches. I just thought they would be fun to try out. But yeah, the teal one's definitely interlocking shells. The gray one was all just straight half double crochet in a brick. And then the cream one, he's getting the book so that I can tell you what it was. I think it was a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then single crochets in the chains and chain over the single crochets, if that makes sense. But I will double check the book. Yep, that's it. Let me see real quick. It was called Woven Stitch. This is one of my favorite stitch dictionaries that I'm positive I have not done a review on, but we'll be doing a review very shortly because it's in sort of a confusing little mess on Amazon. So yeah, it is called the Woven Stitch, and like I said, it is single crochet, chain 1, and then it's this texture here. It's single crochet. Oh no, sorry, it's over here. It's a single crochet, chain 1, and then on the next row you single crochet into the chains and chain over top of the single crochets from the last row, and then you just do that back and forth. The edges are a little bit tricky because you've got to always single crochet on your edges to make them nice and even. So that's the 3 stitches. So interlocking shell, half double crochet, and woven stitch. All right. Sorry, my phone dumped me out of the live chat. Okay. All right. So, again, if anyone has questions or comments about crochet in general, or yarns that we've talked about tonight, or things you'd like me to make videos on, I'd love to hear those in the live chat. Or if you're watching this later on after the video is already published and the live stream's over, go ahead and throw those in the comment section below. But yeah, so I think I was mentioning I'm working on this project bag / yarn bowl. Working on finishing up a couple of blankets and getting the edging patterns on them. And so we'll do some tutorials on those and some reviews of the yarns that I used there. Then we'll also be doing some more book reviews and things like that. But if there's anything that you guys are really interested in seeing, types of patterns that I could work on, like I said, I'm not much of a pattern designer. I've been trying to branch out a little bit away from baby blankets and dishcloths because those are nice and square and easy to make. I've made one cowl that I don't think we published a pattern on because it turned out kind of wonky. But I'm willing to try some new things. I don't think I'm at the level where I can design sweaters and clothing, but probably getting to the point where I can start to design fingerless gloves and hats and things like that. So, I'd really love to try out some tapestry crochet. I don't know how much you guys have experimented with that. That's where you carry along one color and then you can switch back and forth and make patterns based on changing colors. So I've done a couple of patterns that other people have designed, but I'm a little bit interested in trying to do that with like a scarf or a hat or something like that. So, but yeah. So, oh, somebody's thanking you for running and getting stuff. If that's all the questions there are tonight, we might just wrap up, a little bit earlier than we normally do. But like I said, we will be aiming to live stream again next Tuesday at about 8 o'clock, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. That is Central Time. But yeah, so we should, as long as UPS or whoever's bringing my Joann fabric order doesn't lose it in transit, we should be unboxing that. And then the following weekend, I'm supposed to be going fabric shopping with a friend, and I'm hoping to hit up a couple of yarn stores in downtown Chicago. So I'm hoping that I will have some interesting stuff from in Chicago. But other than that, if there are things that you would like to see live stream topics on, I'd love to hear about those. And yeah. So if you want to get a hold of me or show anything that you've made from any of my tutorials, if you have questions about how a project is working up and you think I can help you out, I'm always happy to try. You can get a hold of me on Facebook or Instagram at Experiments in Crafting. I also just created a Twitter account. It's at EXPTS in Crafting because they would not let me use the entire of Experiments in Crafting. They had a character limit on their usernames. So you, I'm sure, can just search Experiments in Crafting and come up with me. Yeah, so the links to those will be in the description below. And if you guys are not already subscribed, I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe. A couple of weeks ago, somebody mentioned that it was great that I was doing videos again, and I've been pretty consistent about doing videos, so I'm worried that people are not getting notifications. If you feel like you're not getting notifications or you're not getting notified about live streams or things like that, make sure that you hit the little bell next to the subscribe. That will turn on notifications and send you emails every time I upload a video or go live. So if you're missing out on videos or on content while we're live, that you might not have the notifications turned on. So if you're first-time viewer to my live streams, please hit subscribe and you'll get notifications. If you're a regular viewer and just kind of have this in your calendar, you can get notifications if you turn on that little bell. And then, as always, comments and questions in the comment section below if the video is already published. And I guess I'm just double checking in the live chat real quick. Somebody did mention that there's a designer that does tapestry crochet, and so I'll look into that. But yeah, it could be a YouTube channel. But yeah, so yeah, thank you all for joining me tonight, and we're gonna wrap up for the evening. I hope to see you next week at about 8 o'clock, and have a great week. Thanks for watching.